Magandang araw na naman kabayan. Panoorin natin paano mag-explain si Secretary Benjamin Diokno ng Finance. Siya ata ang pinakamatibay at matalino na Finance Officer o MAPA BSP Governor, ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Maliban dyan, magpalit man ng mga presidente, andyan pa rin siya. Kailangan muna ng apprentice, Sir Benjamin, para naman may kaagapay ka. Kaya huwag tayong magtaka na pati sa administrasyong Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. ay siya pa rin ang finance officer o finance czar. Siyempre, gagalingan niya. Ikaw ba naman ang sumasahod ng 41 million pesos kada taon? Salamat, kabayan!
Magandang umaga, Malacanang Press Corps, and welcome to our press briefing this morning, March 7, 2023. This morning, we had a sectoral meeting with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. along with other key government agencies. Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno presented to the President ways to address inflation. Para ibahagi ng mas detalya ang impormasyon ukol rito, kasama natin ngayon si Secretary Benjamin Diokno. Secretary?
Thank you very much. First, good news, yung inflation, I'm sure you already know, right? February inflation was slightly lower than the January inflation, 8.6% compared to 8.7% in January. Ibig sabihin to, nag-level up na, baka slightly pababa, and that we forecast that maybe by around October, it will go down to the 4%, 2 to 4% level na ini-expect ng BSP. In fact, yung inflation for February, ang forecast ng BSP is 8.5 to 9.3, right? They forecasted that last week. So the actual inflation number is nearer the lower end of the forecast. So that's the good news. Now, I will leave with you the full deck. I cleared this with the President para mas marami kayong masulat, no? Dahil napaka-comprehensive ng report namin sa Presidente, and I cleared it with him. Sabi niya, you can share it with the press, no? Unang-una, binanggit namin yung anong sources ng inflation. Ang lumalabas ay talagang food items, no? So major items like vegetables, meat, sugar, fish, no? And then so in relation to that, I reported kung gaano karami tayong kailangang angkatin na mga na rice, yellow corn, raw and refined sugar, pork and fish. So I stated that, and we will leave you the exact number. Narito yan, no? So I don't have to tell you right now. And then I emphasize that in order to tackle inflation, talaga all of government approach, no? So ang BSP naman ginagawa na yung kanyang role. In fact, ang BSP natin ay one of the most aggressive in this part of the world, no? In terms of adjusting the policy rate. Second sa aggressiveness is Korea. But otherwise, tayo yung pinaka-aggressive, no? I remember when I left BSP, ang interest rate natin is 2%. Ngayon, nasa 6% na tayo. Ang adjustment niya is 400 basis points. Kasi yung 100 basis point is equivalent to 1%. No? So from 2%, nung mulis ako sa BSP, ngayon, 6% na ang interest rate natin. No? Now, so ginagawa ng fiscal, ng monetary policy yung dapat niyang gawin. Now, sabi ko, ang pressure ngayon is on the fiscal side. Kailangan natin tutukan yung mga pressure ng mga commodities. And then we told the President what are the short-term measures and what are the long-term measures. No? So, for example, dun sa tinatawag namin na supply chain, pinag-usapan namin yung from production, anong gagawin sa production, and then kung kailangan mag-import because there is a deficit, and then what we'll do, post-harvest, warehousing, distribution, and then transport of goods. So yun ang mga pinag-usapan namin. Kailangan tayo magkangkat ng fertilizers sa mga ibang bansa kasi kailangan natin yan for agricultural production. So we have, right now, we can import from Saudi Arabia and China. And then we have to focus on agriculture production and productivity. And then marami ng programa tayo sa budget na nakatutok dito sa agriculture production. Yun diniscuss ko rin kay Presidente yun. And then, what else? And then, may mga requirements kasi na nakaka-delay ng paglabas ng produkto from, pag nag-angkat ka, bago mo mailabas sa customs, maraming mga kailangan mga requirements, ganun. So, these are, again, part of the recommendation. For example, fast-tracking government processes on clearances for agricultural goods. And I'll mention this, pero magbibigay din kami sa inyo. Ito na yan. Okay. So, for example, removal of the Certificate of Necessity to Import, or CNI, for fish. No? Tapos, digitalize and centralize the sanitary and phytosanitary import clearance system. Kasi I understand, ito yung sanitary and phytosanitary import clearance. Dati computerized to ng panahon ni GMA, tapos ng panahon ni Pinoy, kinuwang manual. So, nakabagal, no? So ngayon, we will computerize it again, no? And then, tinatawag namin yung implement the equivalence principle of the sanitary and phytosanitary agreement. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ito parang sa vaccine nangyari sa vaccine. Sabi sa US, okay na sa FDA nila, di ba? Sabi okay na itong klase ng vaccine ito. Pagdating dito sa atin, ini-examine natin ulit, di ba? Dumadaan ulit sa FDA. Okay na nga sa US yung Pfizer, mga Moderna. So ngayon, ang sinasabi namin na equivalence, pag in-okay na yun sa ibang bansa at reliable naman yung approval, wag na natin ulitin, di ba? Para mabilis ang pag-release. So that's one. And then remove the required authority to release imported goods, or ATRIG. Yun. Ito naman, BIR Customs. So, sinabi ko kay Presidente, to the extent na pwede naman itong tanggalin legally, tatanggalin natin. Para mabilis lang ang labas ng food imports from the customs. No? And then, sabi namin, kailangan ng early warning systems. So, magkakaroon ng isang komite na pinorm ng Presidente, na chair ako at saka co-chair ko si Secretary Balisacan Neda, Vice Chairman si DBM Secretary, si Mina, and then member noon ng Agriculture, member ang DTI, at member din ng DILG. Ang gagawin lang, at saka DOST, itong committee na ito is called Interagency Committee on Inflation and Market Outlook. So, hindi na magiging ad hoc yung kasi pagka parang nag-create ng committee pagka mag-import na, no? Ganun. Minsan mali yung timing. Kasi magdidesisyon ka mag-import, tapos darating dito sa atin, tama-tama nag-aani naman yung mga farmers. So, umaangal talaga sila. So, dapat talaga i-forecast mo there should be a scientific, science-based forecast. No? Madali naman mag-forecast ng production. Gamitin mo satellite, o kaya para makita mo na pag nagtanim pa lang, malalaman mo na how many hectares have been planted. Ganun. So, nakikita mo yung development. Tapos kung magkaroon ng bagyo, makikita mo rin through the satellite. So, makikita mo. So, we will use that kind of model, no? To forecast. So, this will be a permanent committee. Ang trabaho nito ay, to come up with a demand and supply situation, and we will report to the President on a monthly basis kung ano ang sitwasyon. Kung kailangan mag-angkat tayo. So hindi na ad hoc yung decision to import kung kailangan mag-import, no? And then meron din tayong tinatawag na binabasa niyo na yun. May mga rekomendasyon din tayo tungkol sa napaka-importante rin, sabi namin, na since mataas ang inflation, siguro ipagpatuloy natin yung mga ayuda na binibigay natin sa mga kailangan. So, tutuloy natin yung Kadiwa. In fact, we will expand the Kadiwa program. We will continue the provision of fuel discounts, yung programa for the farmers and the fisher folks. And then, we will extend the targeted cash transfer program for 2023. Ano itong cash transfer program? Ito ay 500 pesos for 2 months. So that means 1,000 pesos for 9.3 million households. Ibibigay na natin to. Na-identify na namin kung saan kukunin ng pera at siguro in a few days or a few weeks, mabibigay na natin to sa mga na-apekto ng inflation. Okay? And then, pinakita rin namin na merong total na 26.6 billion pesos na subsidies for the vulnerable sectors. So, ito yung mga fertilizer discount voucher, yung fuel discount on farmers and fisher folks, fuel subsidy to transport sector affected by the rising fuel costs. So ito mga jeepney drivers, tricycle drivers, and so forth and so on, they will get subsidy. And then we will extend, as I mentioned, we will extend the targeted cash transfer program, 9.3 billion, a total of 26.6 billion. Okay? So this will be the subsidies for the vulnerable sector. And then, magkikreate din tayo ng tinatawag na economic development group, no? This is economic development group para mas mabilis ang pag-address ng mga problema sa ekonomiya natin. I will be the chairman, co-chair ko si NEDA, and the members will be PMS, DTI, DBM, DA, DPWH. This is I don't know what slide is this, but I think you have a copy there, no? Ang secretariat nito ay NEDA. Nag-identify din kami ng mga batas na kailangan ipasa. This is naman long-term naman to, no? For example, yung New Agrarian Emancipation Act, no? That's number 1. I understand this has passed the House and napasa na rin to sa Senado. Ang pakay ng batas na ito is condonation of agrarian reform beneficiaries, mga worth 58 billion pesos, no? So yung mga pagkakautang ng mga small farmers, para ikukondonal siya. And this will allow farmers to focus now on their efforts to increase production rather than pag iniisip pa nila, paano ko babayaran itong lupa na ito. So, mag-focus na lang sila sa production. Secondly, the other bill that we are going to push is the National Land Use Act. Ang ibig sabihin nito, mag-allocate tayo ng mga lupa, say for protection, for conservation, for production, means for agriculture and fisheries, settlement development, this is for housing, and then infrastructure development for transportation, communication, water resources, social infrastructure, and so on. So, ang mangyayari nito, hindi mo na yung mga agricultural land kino-convert into mga housing na gano'n. No? So, nakaset aside talaga yung agricultural land so they will not be converted into other use. And then we also propose the Livestock Development and Competitiveness Bill. Ito ay naka-address sa mga poultry and hogs, no? So, para kailangan i-reduce natin yung tariff sa corn to 5%, uniform 5%. Napaka-importante kasi yung corn sa production ng hogs and poultry. And then we also proposed the amendments to the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, and so forth. So nasa inyo ring listahan yan, ano? And then finally, we have also proposed the creation of the Economic Development Group. So the creation of the Economic Development Group with the following composition. Chairperson is the Department of Finance, co-chair Cosi Neda, and then the members are PMS, DTI, DBM, Department of Agriculture, Department of Public Works and Highways, DOTR, DICT, Department of Energy, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Transportation, DILG, and DOLE. Ang secretariat nito ay NEDA.